Hi, and welcome to my sewing room. My name's Leah, and today I'm going to show you what's helped me get organized and get more projects done. You've probably heard of meal prepping, people spending a few hours or most of a Saturday chopping and sorting food so they can throw meals together quickly during the week. Well, today I'm doing the quilty version of that. I'm organizing, cutting, and preparing quilts in advance. So on the days when I don't have the energy to cut and decipher a pattern, I have one ready to go and I can just sit at the sewing machine and start sewing. Over the years, I bought many kits, but it's the cutting that seems to have put a halt to these getting started, and my pile of kits keeps growing. The nice thing about buying a kit from a shop is that it usually includes all the fabric needed to make the top for a specific quilt, often with beautifully coordinated fabrics and the printed pattern. But here's the thing, most kits that come from the stores come with all the fabric, but it's not cut up. You get nice fat quarters or half yards, or even smaller pieces folded up nice and neat. That means when you're ready to get started, you still have to press everything, measure everything, cut it out, and then label it. And don't get me wrong, having all the fabric in one place is great, but if you're short on time or mental energy, that prep work can feel like a mountain. I have my fair share of kits that I haven't started because I get stuck at that cutting phase. So what I'm going to do is take the idea of a quilt kit and take it one step further and cut it down and get it ready for sewing. It's like having a ready-to-cook meal kit, but for quilting. Let me take you through my steps on how to make some ready-to-sew quilt kits. Step 1. Planning. This is similar to planning your meals for the week, but instead of pulling out recipes, I'm going to pull out patterns. Today I'm going to focus on 5 quilts. I have 3 kits that I purchased and 2 patterns that I've been wanting to make. For the 2 projects that only have a pattern, I've gathered all the fabric I want to use and made sure I have enough yardage of each print and have stacked them together. This first one is a PDF pattern, so I print out the pattern as well as the color version that I plan to make, and I'll include this little picture in my kit as well. Since I printed out the pattern, I'll also write down any special notes on it as I go, such as which groups of fabrics need to be sewn first. If I don't want to write on my pattern, I'll put that on a sticky note or a note card and I'll make sure I put that in the kit. If it helps, you can copy the cutting instructions on your pattern and mark them off as you cut them. That way you don't ruin the original pattern in case you want to make it again. Step number 2, cutting the fabric. I like to cut one project at a time so nothing gets mixed up. I'll cut one all the way out and then move on to the next one. I decided to work on the ridiculously easy jelly roll quilt first, as I felt that one would be the easiest and would get me jump started for the day. I can't show the actual footage of me cutting out these pieces because the patterns aren't mine and I don't want to give away any of the sizes. But I will put the names of the patterns and the makers in the description below, in case you want to go search for them yourself and make one for you. Once everything is cut out, I'll label my stacks or any groups of fabric. For this particular quilt, there are 29 rows, and I have stacked all the fabric together for each row. For this one, I actually cut off the edge of my pattern that I copied and made quick labels with a pencil and clipped the whole stack together with that label and a wonder clip. Now when I'm ready, all I have to do is pull out a stacked row and start sewing. I did double check everything as I went. That way I won't end up missing pieces later. Again, I can't show the pattern, but you can see I highlighted the size I'm making so my eyes don't look at the wrong column, which is underneath this fabric. Step number 3. Once everything is cut out, I put it in its own container. This can be a large Ziploc bag, a zippered pouch, a clear plastic shoebox, or even its own special bin. I have this container that has 3 empty bins, so I'll put 3 of my projects in here today, but I'll have to find 2 more containers for the last 2. All of the pieces and the pattern go into this bin. If I had any sticky notes or tips that I wrote down, I'd put that in here as well. Sometimes I put the extra fabric in here too, just in case. I don't have any extra notes for this one, but I do want to make sure I put this picture of the colorway in here. That way I can have it for reference. If you have any little notes, they will come in handy when you come back to the project weeks later. Once everything's in the bin, I'll make sure to add a label. A label maker can be your best friend, but even some masking tape with the name of the project on it will work just fine. And that's one quilt kit, fully prepped and ready to go. I'll cut out the rest and then I'll have 5 quilts ready for sewing. This one is my Sparrows quilt. I only had 4 main bird colors, plus the beak and the half square triangles, but it was the background that had so many extra pieces. This was a nice pattern as it came with some labels for you to make sure I don't mix up any of the sizes on my background pieces. This one got put in the middle drawer of my bin. Up next was a fanciful floor. I started cutting out this one and I got all the pretty fabrics cut out, and then it was time for the background and Avi said, nope, time to take a break. He jumped up on the table and decided he wanted to roll around in my background fabric for just a little bit. I let him stretch out a little bit and then I got back to my cutting. I got everything cut out, and then I put it in the top of my bin that holds 3 projects. Up next was my Whirligig quilt kit. This one had a lot of background to cut out as well, but a lot of it was the same sizes, so it was quicker to cut out. I put this one in its own bin. Some of the piles were kind of tall, and I didn't think it would fit in my little drawer bins. Last up is Flying Colors, and this is one of the oldest kits I have. I actually won it in a giveaway on the internet, probably in 2011, 2010? I can't remember the actual date. So I'm excited to finally cut into it. And when I got this, I thought, oh my gosh, this quilt is going to be super hard. But once I started cutting it out, I realized it's not as bad as it turned out to be. You have several colorways, going from dark to light, and you'll be making half log cabin blocks. I tried to keep it organized into sections that were ready to sew together, and I put this one in its own special container, because this one will stay flat on my shelf. And there you have it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quilt kits ready for sewing. Doing this prep work ahead of time has really been helpful to me. Some days I just want to sit down at the sewing machine, listen to some music or an audiobook, and just sew. I had some projects cut out like this before, such as some of my One Block Wonder quilts, but I've sewn all I can on those, and most of them are ready for the design wall phase. I liked having several projects cut out at once. That way I could just sit down at the sewing machine and just start sewing without having to think too hard. It was perfect for those days when I had a long day at work and all I wanted to do was just come home and sew, but didn't want to have to deal with planning or cutting or figuring out a pattern. Since I have finished up all the sewing on those One Block Wonders, I found myself recently wishing I had a project already cut out so I could just sew. But I was out of stacks to sew, and most of my other quilting projects and some of my UFOs still needed to be planned, cut, and organized. Even some of my scrappy projects are still in the fabric collecting stage and need a little bit more to go with them before I can just sit and sew. That's what pushed me today to make another batch of projects that are just ready to sew. Projects that I don't have to stop and prep, I just grab the kit and get to the fun part. If you have several kits or patterns in your stash that you want to sew, but get overwhelmed with the prep, this method might just be for you. Spending a day to cut and organize your projects ahead of time can mean more joy at the machine during those busy weeks when you just want to sit down and sew. It takes the pressure off and allows you to just sew in that moment. I hope this has inspired you to try prepping your own quilt kits. It's like meal prep for your sewing machine. Let me know in the comments below if you prep your projects like this, or if it's something you might want to try. Or are you a one project at a time person? Cut it, sew it, quilt it, and then move on to the next one. No matter which method you like best, I hope this video has inspired you to get to the sewing machine. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, happy sewing.